Hey guys, Nate out here with you. It is the second week of August, so that means fall food plots are taking off. As you can see behind me here, I've got right at half an acre worked up already this morning. This is going to be a Grandpa Ray's elite mix out here in this half acre. You can see the tree right there that we got the tree stand in. Kind of an unorthodox setup here for most stuff in the Midwest, but it's what we got to work with, and it is a good spot. Believe it or not, this area right here has proven to be more bucky than about anything else we got. I don't know what it is that they like about this out here, but it is fairly secluded. Let me get the camera turned around and I'll show you more about what we got right here. All right, camera's flipped. So this is a bean plot. This is a new bean plot for this year. This is right at 3.5 acres of beans that I got here. You can see the tractor there is in the edge of the CRP. We've got about 30 acres of CRP between us and the neighbor's place that you can see in the background there. And this 3.5 acres here is all beans, late beans, planted toward the end of July. Got a tree line up there that we can hunt as well. It's much more difficult to access because a lot of times the deer are staying over in this area, this brushy draw over here. We can slip up here to this lone tree a lot easier than we can to get up that tree line, what we found so far. This is the most food we've ever had up here. As you can see, we got corn all along the eastern side, brushy draw over there, about another 100 to 150 yards away. That's where a lot of them are staying. So tree stand here in this lone tree, half an acre Grandpa Ray's Elite right here. Very high powered mix, high energy. There's alfalfa there, lots of protein of course with that. And we'll have a couple different kinds of clover in there. We've had really good luck with that here last year, so we're going to turn around and do it again this year. Again, like I said, tons of bucks out here for whatever reason, and lots of different bucks. They kind of roam out here, it seems like. We'll have not necessarily too consistent like we do half a mile away with the other patches we'll head to, but a lot of bucks out here. It's like they just travel through out here. I don't know what it is about it, but it's a very bucky spot. Like I said, 3.5 acres of late beans out here. They're looking pretty good. A lot of these guys right out here have been nipped off. You can tell for sure. These guys here, all these little guys here, they've all been nipped off. So the deer are definitely in them the way it is. Looking pretty good. Hopefully in about 2 or 3 weeks, I'll get out here and I'll spray some herbicide to try to get rid of the weed competition. And also I would like to spray some liquid fertilizer on these guys and see if that helps them out. It is pretty poor ground, and you can see there's a lot of trash out here still left. This hasn't been fertilized in a very long time. This whole plot was kind of an afterthought when I was finally able to get some beans from my nephew late in the year, after he realized he wasn't going to have to do any replant with his beans. So anyway, the beans were kind of a last minute thing out here. I was happy to get them in because they can't do anything but help. Should be a lot of good food for them out here. So we'll see how this plot turns out. All right, on to the next plot. I am standing in the middle of another new bean patch. I got right at 2 acres of beans that I'm standing here in. And then right over the top of my head, you can see about a 1/4 acre that I just worked up. That is an existing food plot. It's been there for a long time. It's always just been a 1/4 acre of clover and chicory. I'm redoing it. I had been seeding into that, frost seeding, probably 2 years now. It was just time for it to be redone. I couldn't keep up with the weed competition, so I worked it under when I did the beans here, and then I just redid it here. Gonna put another mix of clover and chicory out there. Okay, another little spot here. This is another 1/4 acre plot. We're on the other side of the woods from where the little 1/4 acre plot in the edge of the beans was. About not quite a 1/4 mile through the woods this direction would be the other plot, the other little 1/4 acre plot. Very similar to this one. This is tucked down closer to a creek. The whole west side of the plot here is a creek, and then it circles right back here. So it is a tight little spot here, all in behind me. 1/4 mile long draw where the creek runs this way. There is a hillside in the woods all along the edge of the creek here, and then up on top right in there is bedding. So they lay there, and then they lay down in this draw and everything as well. I am hunting this little 1/4 acre food plot right here in this little clump of trees. I got a ladder stand right there. You can see the corn behind that, standing corn. There's also corn all up on this other top and all the way down the side of this draw. So this is a fairly secluded spot back here. Access is through this waterway and parking way up there at those trees that you can see. Anyway, again, this is another clover plot that hadn't been redone in quite some time. As you can see, there's just weeds everywhere. Less than 10% clover left out here. I've been frost seeding into it. The last 2 years it wasn't doing too good, so I'm just going to go ahead and redo it today. And this one's done. They will come out here very early in the afternoons and feed before they go out to the destination, feeding cornfields here to the north and to the west, corn surrounding all this, and then bedding is off to the right of the screen and directly behind me. But anyway, this is a great little spot. This is probably the second buckiest spot on the farm. I was talking earlier about how that lone tree patch, for whatever reason, has the most bucks out there. But anyway, this has always been a good spot. Killed a buck here a few years ago. Hoping that this plot will really do good again this year. All right, guys, down here to what I call the sprout patch. This is last year's mix of Grandpa Ray's Inner Sanctum. This stuff is the nicest clover plot I've ever had that I'm going to work under. I am going to till this under. I do want to put Inner Sanctum again out here this year. As you can see, in a few spots, I've got some volunteer kale that's coming up. The deer hammered that kale last year unbelievably with this plot down here. I want that same mix, all of it coming back in here. You can just see little specks of this stuff, little specks of it out here. Minimal weeds. I'm going to say I've got an 80% stand of clover out here. But anyway, I probably got an 80% stand, maybe better, of clover out here. All I've done is properly fertilized it according to soil samples, what they called for. And then I mowed it about a month ago, and it looks like this. That's all I've done to it since I planted it last August. So again, this would definitely be a quality plot to hunt over this year. The nicest stand of clover that I have ever worked under, but it's getting ready to happen right here. Well, one pass and all of the clover is gone. I don't have the seed in just yet. Hopefully next week the seed will be in and I'll be ready to plant this. I'll broadcast it. But the way the dirt looks, I wouldn't be afraid to broadcast it right now. Again, this is an existing plot. I expected it to work up pretty well. It did work up even a little better than I thought it might. So we're ready for another round of Inner Sanctum here. Okay, here we go, last one. This is what I call the south plot. It is a big plot. It's about 1.5 acres. I consider it a big plot anyway. No way I can shoot all of it with a bow, that's for sure. My stand is about 20 yards deep in this little point right here. I got a solid trail that comes right past that stand out into this. Also, as you can see, there are woods all around the border of this CRP field here. This is about a 40-acre CRP field here. Lots of draws, draw there, a draw there, another one there, big draw over here. So they will come up out of those draws from all of the woods all around this, and they'll come up in here to this plot before they head on north through the woods to get out into the corn on the other side of this woods about 200 yards away. This has always been a spot that I wanted to keep a really good mix in. Grandpa Ray's fall draw is what I'm going to put out here. That's what I had out here last year as well. Last year it did not do very good simply because we had drought-like conditions last year, the fall of 22. This had hardly any water on it. It did come up, the deer hammered and just absolutely kept it ate down to the ground. This is looking south. South is that way right there. This thing gets full sun all day until, the last hour of light in the evening and also the first hour of light in the morning. But for the most part, this plot gets the sunlight to really do well. We have to have the rain. Just wish we didn't have last year. I've got some clover out here that's left over from that mix, but not too much. All I did since last year, kept this one fertilized and I mowed it about a month ago, and this is what's left. All these plots, I am just tilling them under. I'm not spraying them. I do want to try to get some of this plant material back into the soil. That's why you're not seeing me spraying anything as I'm going and having dead stuff out here today. It is a little bit harder to work. These plots have all been plots before. They've all been established, except for the 2 new bean plots. Those were all new, but all these plots that I'm tilling today have been established, so the soil isn't super compacted or anything. It is tilling up pretty nice, and I do want to try to get this plant material back into the soil. So anyway, that's why I'm doing that. Normally I would spray and kill this stuff, but I've not tilled stuff under, work stuff under the green stuff for quite some time now, so I thought I'd go ahead and try to do that again this year. But it's been working out pretty good, so we'll see how this one does. And here we go, finished product on this big plot. And we're hoping for more rain this fall than we had last fall. What did grow, like I said, the deer really liked it. They just, it didn't come to a real good mature stage because it just didn't have that water.